ancestral father that you have become associated with, or you've now considered as your great-great-grandfather. This is what they were doing. This is how they breathed themselves. This is how they brought all these things together. We have become as a result of, a generation that has come from them. Whichever way it is, if you have blended yourself in that, then this is how you have to see things. And this is more pleasing to the living God, or God has no issues with that. But in practicality in our life, we don't do that. We see that as the idea that the fact that we are now somehow, the idea of being able to migrate ourselves into that interrelationship and great, it sort of gives the wider scope to show our unity, our unified body, respecting each other and being one, and in respect of whatever state or tribe you may be in, does not really matter anymore. And it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. At the end of the day, if you come to the religion or culture and we look at these things, there must be a format, and that format that is being presented that makes us define ourselves as being as what we choose to say our way of life must be in the guidelines or in the rules of these regulations. It must be tally with these rules and regulations of the Quran or the Bible or whichever book you may depend on. It must not be something different. It must be within in this context. So at the end of the day, this is what we look to sort of decide or make our decisions, because this should be believed as the direct inspirational words for us to follow through. So here we have these things here, way straightforward, directly telling us what was happening. If this is the truth, this is the true line story, why do we do something different? Why do we have to do something? Why do we have to make something different? And so here we have and God being asking all those things, being fruitful and multiply. It's like, to me, the idea of even being engaged with somebody else doesn't matter. It didn't matter anymore. If you are being with somebody else, because if you look at it realistically, if the facts of the matter or the truth of the matter is that we all came as a result of one tree, that we have all become this many, we become fruitful and multiply to this level, then realistically everybody, we are all virtually brothers and sisters, maybe distantly related, but we are all brothers and sisters, united somehow, linked in some ways. So even if there's nothing, the word like outsider, the same book revealed to us enemies and outsiders, because they sort of decide not to follow through or blend themselves with Jehovah's instructions. For that reason, they worship something else. And if you worship something else, then you split from Jehovah's ways, and so God then consider you as an outsider or a stranger. And in that sense, you are no more a brother or a sister. So if that is the reason, then we consider today anything outside of any group or institution that you are in, you consider it as enemy. So we've learned an enemy and strangers from this book. Thanks to the book, we know what our brother is or our sister is. And thanks to the same book, we are realizing that we are splitting from our brothers and sisters in so many ways. But at the end of it all, it is being said somehow that we came from that same end. So whichever way it is, if you ended up with another person, it's only the way of life, your way of worship, your way of faith has made you different from that fellow person, and not necessarily your color, your looks, your way of life, culture or religion has made you become different from that fellow person who is an enemy or a stranger to you. So that is what the book now trying to say, is saying to us all this time, all this along. It points straight to us. So that is how your enemy is generated, because what is the reason for Islamic people to be fighting with Christians, or with Christians fighting with Islamic people? Why? Because they don't consider themselves as brothers. Because of their religion, the stance or what they believe in makes them different from the other. So in religion we have discrimination, we have all sort of racial what do you call it, differences, and it comes down to the individual people, because they are all the religion is made up of people, so the same people at the end of the day react in the same manner. There is no excuse to these things. I'm not saying it is there. You read these things, you figure it out yourself. So we go on to what we learn from Bethel. And we went on with all the children being born. And Richard died as a process during that time when he gave birth to his last child, Benjamin, I think. And I think in the process of when he was having the baby, his baby boy, Benjamin, that's where he died. So he didn't see his child. The storyline goes on there. 36 reveals we went to 36 reveal the family of Esau, and it also reveal things about Esau and the genealogy probably of Esau and all that. It goes in, you can learn more about Esau, the background of Esau and all that. That's the brother of Jacob. And probably we'll have a lot of things to pull out there from there, because it doesn't look like Esau and his combination of marriage and all that, he will be considered as much more of a Jewish family now. He's like being split outside from going out of the family instead of coming into the family. The more of Esau's side is being seen as maybe somebody being an Arabian or a Muslim, or somebody being a Chinese or whatever it is. It's like that's where Esau is heading. Now we go to Jacob. Jacob is like staying within the confines of what the will of his blood-related father, mother wants, and that is, as long as you stay in the line of what Jacob wants, what Abraham wants, what Isaac wants, what their fathers wished for them, then in the sons of the 12 children, as long as they stay in line of what Jacob wanted, at the end of the day, they are doing things in the will of God, just as today. But today is slightly different. We practice something different, and we accept those things, but we teach something different, and the things we teach, as we read from the Bible, should be the traditions that we should follow. So it doesn't matter if you wear the clothes, but you don't follow through. Like the Islamic side, where they choose to wear clothes, cover all their faces and all that, but yes, they don't follow through. Then that's a problem. They don't really try to get the understanding of all this. Most of them even go take the opportunity to read the book. Just like the Christians. Nobody read the book. They claim the practice. I mean, people, if somebody has not read through the book, head to toe, to see all that he has to see, he cannot just say by birth, I'm a Christian. How can you say that? Or by birth, I'm a Muslim. What makes you a Muslim? You want to get that, you need to get to the book. Take the book, because the book is the terms and conditions. You go through, you sign that I agree that this book and all that is from God, is the order that I want to follow through. But they take them into the mosque or to the church, swearing by anything, baptize him anyhow, and they say, go. You are now a Christian, you are now a Muslim, you are now Alaji, you are now Ajia, just go, And they take the man and they dress up nice, and the dressing that they have make them look holy. Not necessarily them themselves, but the dressing, the fact that he puts out nice dress, he would drive cars, he's in a good shape, he put nice presentation all the time, then he's quiet, and he shows a modest, calm approach to everything, and does not raise insults anyhow, or he's very much, controlling his life, holding things inside, and, does not really come out plainly, because he sort of he developed his own way of living, to please people all the time. He doesn't necessarily have to read the Bible or read the Quran or follow any terms of rules. If he goes in and he hears certain directions, okay, he follows through. But deep down, he's been, baptized or been accepted as being a Muslim. And yet, he hasn't got a clue of what the history tells to tell him or her, except what his family told him, whether they lied or not, whether they misquote something or not. And so it's very shaky and very unstable. Religion today is very